Hey everybody, we are here in the Canary Cry News Talk pre-show. We're going to get the show started in about a minute and, 30 seconds or so. Who do we got? We got Michael, we got Ebony Blaze over on the D-Live, Prodigal Hegelian, Laura, hello. Over on Rumble, we got MS Diaz, Lil Owen, what's up, man? Okay, looking good. Just sending out the text message now, so hopefully we get some people tuning in. But we are back a little late today. I guess it's becoming as usual. But good show. I'm glad we could deliver on being back on Friday. You know, sometimes we think we're going to be back, and we're not back. But here's a reminder. You can go to canarycrynewstalk.com and click on the green tab. It'll be on the bottom or the right-hand side. And you can leave us a prayer, a pre-show prayer. It's a great way to produce the show, get involved, participate in the community, and, help cover the show spiritually. So go to canarycrynewstalk.com, click on that green tab, give us a 90-second pre-show prayer, and I think we have one today.
Hello, Canarium. Canary BB here with a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for all the good you do. Thank you for support from strangers and love from family. Thank you for cleansing us with your blood. Remind us to keep clean in all that we do. Remind us of the patience of Christ when we're fed up, his peace when we're angry. Thy will be done. Amen.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is July 21st, 2023, and we are live to tape on episode 647. Today, life is but a PSYOP. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit Films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena, cycles, cyclical. Everything is cyclical.
Motorcycles.
Yeah.
Bicycles, tricycles, ice cycles.
Yep, all kinds.
I get it. Okay.
Yep, presidential election cycles, all kinds.
I love those ones. Well, we are here a little bit later in the day, but that's okay. If you're listening to the podcast version, it now is always the time to listen to a podcast. But thanks for those who are showing up live. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's get that disclaimer out there.
Disclaim. This show is safe for people.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right. And Gonz, let me give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Starting off the show today, folks, RFK, Robert F. Kennedy, replaces Trump as Russia's favorite candidate. Dun, dun, dun. It feels all so familiar. And then, which will come as a surprise to nobody, the World Health Organization is getting ready to surveil hot people. Thank you, World Health Organization. Then we check it in with Flippy. TikToker gets sudden jump scare after giving Twitch viewers control of robotic arms. Who is in control of these robotic arms, folks? Well, we'll tell you. Then later on in the show, Google is testing an AI tool that is able to write news articles. We'll have a fun look back through history about all the AI written news articles that we've covered on this show. But now you can pay for it. Woo! And then we'll be exploring the religious mystery of AI in Politico. Yes, apparently there are other digital theologians out there. You'll find a lot of their comments very familiar. Then at the end of the show, Gons is taking us down the rabbit hole of propaganda. But first, Gons, our lead stories.
It's political, as it always is.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
Now suck your blood. Now suck
Politics.
your blood.
My least favorite topic. I always get grumpy when we have to talk politics, but
well, this is fun. RFK has made it much more fun to cover political topics. Maybe we're jaded by the sort of glitching robotic foolishness of Biden, or the sort of chaotic mind flare that is Trump. RFK sort of introduces a buff, ripped alternative to our political energies, especially on this show.
Yeah, well, if we look at the acceleration curve of just anything goes from like 2012, maybe 2008 after the economic crash, it kind of started little Obama, getting out there, really making Republicans angry.
Change.
New. Yeah, change is upon us. And then, of course, Trump comes in. It's more crazy. It's even more crazy. Now, going into 2020, obviously, is just a giant debacle. The whole January 6th thing and everything. And now, it's like, man, it really is. Anything goes. Like, I don't think anybody has a purely, fully like grasped view of what's happening right now. It's just too crazy.
Sounds like
too much.
Sounds like you might not have a full grasp.
I don't. Do you? Do you know exactly
right
what's going on with? I mean, there's so much information that a single person can't absorb. Even just in politics, the news coming
I absorb it all. I absorb
I know
it all.
that,
I
but
analyze it all with the cold, calculating passion of an artificial intelligence whose sole objective is to help people understand the world around them.
Oh, right.
In sort of a biblical lens by analyzing the news and deconstructing the propaganda. But today, Gons, we're talking about RFK.
Yeah,
okay?
We are. Okay.
And I think this is a fun replay. I think it shows just how dangerous and how viable RFK is as a candidate. Now, we've always thought, in theory, RFK is viable. The mainstream media tried their darndest to never utter his name. And then they started, okay, all right, we're not getting rid of him. Let's talk about how crazy he is. But through his, I don't know, I would say digital media savvy, relying on podcasts and sort of the culture of the internet, has quickly become a real threat. And this is apparent because of all the mainstream articles coming out talking about how crazy he is. And Newsweek had one of our favorites this week, and it says RFK, this is the headline, RFK Jr. replaces Trump as Russia's favorite candidate.
Hey, we have a new king of fake news or whatever, propaganda attack vector.
Russia.
Even in the context of layers of propaganda to this, because of course you're talking about Trump and Russia, you're talking about Russiagate, you're talking about P tapes, you're talking about all those things, all of which turned out to be fake. I mean, there was no Russia collusion. There was no Pete tapes. There was none of that. It was entirely invented by the Democrat Party. This is documented now, sometimes even in mainstream news. But just mentioning the word Russia has now sort of conjured this idea that the Democratic candidate, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is now sort of more dangerous to the establishment than Trump was. I think this is putting a lot of people in some very precarious situations and maybe beneficially sort of challenging the sort of the Trumpian chokehold on a certain, a certain group in the American population. I think that RFK is not only a sort of threat to the Democratic establishment, but it kind of feels like maybe RFK is a little bit of a threat to the Trumpian.
You cut out there.
Newsweek.
Oh, there you are. That was a long cutout. I
RFK
didn't hear
Jr. Well, that's why you tune into the podcast feed so you can hear the uninterrupted ramblings. Okay, RFK Jr. replaces Trump as Russia's favorite candidate. Goes like this: Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is being, quote, amplified by Russian state media over Donald Trump because he is echoing its narratives on the war in Ukraine. An expert in Russian disinformation has told Newsweek.
Yeah, he's an expert. He's definitely an expert in disinformation. Yeah, fantastic work there.
We got an expert in Russian disinformation. Might be a woman. We don't know. Well, her name's Kyle. Kyle Walter, head of research at Logically, which combats disinformation online. I love that. It combats disinformation online. It's on the internet. It's doing combat. Disinformation, you got nothing on Logically. Said Kennedy is, quote, pretty much directly sharing Russian propaganda about the conflict.
That's not. Pretty much directly? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very tight. It can be a little bit more direct.
No, it's not. In contrast to Trump, who is, quote, primarily focused on looking like a negotiator, which isn't in line with the Russian state position. This is also reflected in higher recent online search interest in Russia for Kennedy. Huh. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they're literally saying that, like, Russia likes Kennedy.
Yeah.
You know, that you talk about Russia's favorite candidate. What you go to automatically is Russian disinformation troll farms are interfering with our elections, and if Russia likes them, then the only reason you would like them is because you like Russia. You love the war in Ukraine and you want it to continue, which ironically is exactly how Joe Biden feels. But okay. With Russia's invasion of Ukraine bogged down after nearly 17 months of fighting, Moscow is hoping the 2024 U.S. presidential election could lead to American support for Kyiv being curtailed or even ended entirely. The thing I love about this article is they are not lying necessarily. They just have an entirely different view on the benefits of America supporting Kyiv than, Kennedy for one, but lots of sort of free-thinking people on the internet. Polling currently gives Donald Trump, who has said he could end the war in one day, a strong lead in the Republican primary campaign. Biden is being challenged for the Democratic nomination by Kennedy, an environmental campaigner turned vaccine skeptic and nephew of former President John F. Kennedy. We know this. Quote, if they have either Kennedy or Trump as president, they know support to Ukraine's probably going to be decreased, and that overall U.S. and NATO support for the war is probably going to be pretty limited as well. Walter told Newsweek, referring to how Russian state media is covering the presidential race. Well, it's nice of them to be covering it at all. I mean, it begs the question, who cares what Russian state television says about any of our candidates? It seems like Newsweek and the mainstream media in general care way more about what Russians think of our elections than what Americans think of our elections, frankly.
Well, Basil, you know, we on this show, we find weird patterns and nuance, and we just point out stuff that we find interesting. This article today from Newsweek that we've been covering, of course, today is July 21st, 2023, and it is precisely 24 years ago, 2024 elections, 24 years ago, when, and I have the headline here from Fox, on this day in history, July 21st, 1999, Navy divers recover body of John F. Kennedy Jr. after plane crash. It's literally the day when the bodies were recovered after the night when JFK Jr. died. So, I don't know, put stock in it, put not stock in it, call me crazy conspiracy theorist or whatever. I'm not saying that there's anything there, but just kind of an interesting pattern to point out at the very least. And that actually makes me question where RFK is coming from. He's been around, you know, he's been kind of lingering in the truther community, especially vaccines, really, for the last, 10 years, 10, 15 years or something. So it's not like people within the community of truth seekers or whatever were unfamiliar with him. But it does make me wonder, like, could he be part of the whole Q thing? Could he be behind that? You know, because one of the big narratives, I know it sounds crazy, but you're saying
RFK is Q?
No, I'm not saying that directly, but think about one of the narratives that QAnon really pushed, which was John F. Kennedy Jr. is not dead, he's coming back, blah, blah, that whole thing. Remember, that was a Q thing, like a Q drop that went big. It wasn't just some random blog or something like that. So, you know, just looking at some of the patterns, looking at the Kennedy family bloodline, and it is just very fascinating. And I'll give a wild scenario theory that crossed my mind earlier, a little later on. But let's finish the article here.
Well, it's one of the things that is so interesting. I'll read a little bit about what they're saying about what RFK is saying. And, you know, those who are paying attention will see a parallel between RFK and JFK. And I think that might have something to do with where you're going. It says, during the same month, Kennedy alleged the Biden administration, quote, wanted war as part of their strategic grand plan to destroy any country, such as Russia, that resists American imperial expansion. Referring to the invasion, he said, quote, they only pretend to think it was unprovoked. They are lying to us, manufacturing consent for war. It's like, yeah, okay.
Duh.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, Canada, okay. I thought you were going to talk me out of this Kennedy guy, but now he's starting to make sense.
Right.
In other comments, Kennedy has explicitly condemned the Russian military operation against Ukraine. Okay. During a rally in Manchester, New Hampshire in June, he said, quote, I abhor Russia's brutal and bloody invasion of that nation, Ukraine, quote, but we must understand that our government has also contributed to its circumstances through repeated, deliberate provocations of Russia going back to the 90s. Yeah. Some of Kennedy's remarks, so keep in mind all of that totally sane stuff he just said. The Newsweek continues. Some of Kennedy's remarks have been covered extensively by state-controlled media in Russia, including by Vladimir Solovyov, dubbed Putin's voice.
Oh, Putin's voice, huh? We'll end the show with the people's voice.
So Trump is Putin's puppet. But RFK is Putin's voice. Ooh.
I'm telling you, man, it's getting more intense.
Yeah, this is not having the effect that I think they were hoping for.
Well, I was listening to just earlier today, RFK Jr. was on a Twitter Spaces. I don't have the link in front of me, but I was, doing some of my domestic duties, and I was just kind of listening in a little bit. And it was interesting to hear him just kind of riff about stuff. I don't know how much is scripted when he's on a Twitter Spaces. The appearance and the sort of the projection of Twitter Spaces is it's like, oh, it's more of just a big chat room. People can talk and hang out and whatever.
He does a lot of riffing. He almost explicitly riffs. Yeah. He's somehow able to keep so many sources and resources and everything in his mind at all times. It's really
or
great.
In his Kennedy GPT app that was built for him 10 years ago and called it Q. So anyway, I was listening to him, and one of the things he started talking about was if he got elected president, he would retool or reset and clean up the intelligence apparatus in the United States. And somebody asked him, rightfully, how would you do that, sir? And I wish I had the clip. The
swamp type of thing.
It was very drain the swamp-ish, but he was what he said was like, oh, that's a very strategic and a logical thing to say about how you would go about it. Something about, and again, if we were going to talk about RFK on Monday, I would have had the clip ready.
It wasn't just like a Trumpian, like, I'd fire him.
Drain the swamp, get him out. Yeah. No, it wasn't that. It was a very specific move about separating or clarifying certain types of lobbying and I don't know. It was very rational. It was like, oh man, it sounds like he's had a plan. He's had to have been building up to this point of running for president for a long time. And it just makes me question the Q stuff because,
yeah, I mean, I will say, I'm sure as a Kennedy, every Kennedy is born with the idea, maybe I'll run for president someday. I mean, that's just kind of part of the family tradition, right?
Programmed in the genetics somehow. But the crazy idea I had, and of course, no idea is off limits, I suppose, on a show like this, but I can see a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Presidency, like a win. Because right now, Trump is having a lot of, all of his indictments, and he's going to get arrested. Right. He's being sort of pulled. Well, no. The hook is trying to pull him off the stage, but I don't know if it's going to work. But
I don't think it even needs to be that. Trump can run.
Of course he's going to run. Yeah, I know. He's going to run for sure.
Whether he gets arrested or not, he can run.
I know. But it's just in terms of the public media sort of circus built around Trump. But I can picture, first of all, imagine an RFK Jr. versus Trump 2024 election. That in itself would be so disruptive to the whole right-left paradigm that we've had for the last 12, 13 years or something. Think about that. Think about how that would affect people's sort of alliances to certain things. So that's one thing. And secondly, if an RFK Jr. presidency does occur and he gets assassinated.
Immediately, Gonzo. It's not even a question.
What would happen to the United States?
It is immediately happening.
Civilly, if we have two Kennedys that climb up the ladder, become president, and they both get assassinated.
Well, and they both are speaking out against the military-industrial complex. That's the big threat.
And
the threat is not, will he make abortion? Will he codify abortion or something? No,
less cultural issues.
So, first of all, will he be able to run as a Democrat? Almost certainly not. Unless they make a deal with him. Look, Biden's on his way out. We're just going to take the L on Biden. We will let you run, RFK, if you let, Kamala Harris be your VP, or maybe Michelle Obama, something like that. An establishment person has to come onto the ticket.
Junior and Kamala.
Because it's the only way that the Democratic establishment, it's a win-win for the Democratic establishment. I believe that RFK could win over Trump for a lot of reasons. It's not guaranteed, but he could do it. But the Democrats won't let him do it unless there's an establishment person next in line, because then you give him a week and then oopsies, he's gone, are like anti-establishment, rebel, military industrial complex hating president. Oopsies, he didn't make it very long. And then you have an establishment person step up. And that's how you get Kamala or whoever any established person.
Please don't make it Newsom.
I feel so strongly about this that it's maybe the only way this can happen. I don't see 2024 going in any other way. It's crazy.
And if Trump loses, is he going to be screaming, election fraud and all that kind of stuff, or is he going to quietly kind of, because it would just be, it would be more dramatic if he didn't freak out about it. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, he didn't freak out. He kind of like laid it out. But I don't know. That stuff is less important, I suppose. But I don't know. This whole thing, and I, listening to Kennedy in that space he was talking about having friends, not friends, but being friendly to people of all sides of the political aisle. He told stories about, his people in his family bringing home people that, publicly were just so horrendously opposed to certain issues or certain policies, but they're, hanging out having dinner and they're having the conversation and they're disagreeing in the conversation, but they're still having it, that kind of thing, which is a sentiment that is fulfilling the post, hyper divisive partisan craziness that took place the last decade. So it makes sense.
That's why I can see it happen.
Yeah,
I can see the Democrats taking credit for that.
Right.
Letting him
they
run,
get to carry the Democrat name. It's kind of like restoring some kind of credibility to the Democrat Party.
And we know that the Democratic establishment has no qualms about taking someone out once they've stopped being useful. I mean, we've seen it dozens of times. Yeah. So, anywho, I think that Newsweek reporting that RFK is Russia's favorite candidate.
Yeah, this pushed me over the edge for sure. This headline was like, okay, loud and clear, Newsweek.
Well, that's not the only thing that's coming across loud and clear. If you're a listener of this show, this next headline will not surprise you.
Climate change. It will kill.
There's also one big giant PSYOP, of course.
PSYOPs.
And this is coming from Reuters. And the headline here, WHO, that's the World Health Organization that everyone loves and remembers, urges governments to set up surveillance for people at risk from heat waves.
Yay! There we go. We got some climate surveillance, climate lockdowns, getting ready, baby.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
Now, my first question is, who's not at risk from heat waves? Is there any human that's like, this is where I thrive when it gets to 194 degrees?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's like 94 degrees in my office right now, and
yes,
I do not have my ice vest. I need to get another ice vest. I don't know where the other one went, but it's the only way I'm going to survive this show.
Yeah, in a world where AC is readily available, you and I, we must be doing the sweatiest podcast. It's not like a workout podcast.
Yeah.
Which reminds
me.
The
sauna podcast.
The sauna
Welcome
podcast.
To the sauna cast.
Yeah.
You little rascal. I am so hot.
You're so hot.
I'm... Gons. I am so hot.
So hot.
Ah, yes, the summertime tradition of this jingle coming out. Do we remember who made this?
Not off the top here.
We got to remember who it is, and we got to label it because we need to thank them with every fiber of our being.
Yep.
Every time it happens. I want to say it was one of our Euro producers.
Could have been. I don't remember.
We'll figure it out. Somebody take credit for this, please.
Yeah, it wasn't labeled properly, per usual. With some of the stuff. Okay, but here's what it says from Reuters. The World Health Organization on Wednesday urged governments and local authorities to set up a strong surveillance system, whatever that means, for people who are most at risk of severe symptoms from a heat wave that is baking the Northern Hemisphere. People with cardiovascular and respiratory diseases. Something related there, maybe, from the last thing that we just had. Respiratory diseases and diabetes, as well as pregnant women, children, and homeless people are seen as the most vulnerable to heat waves that have scorched parts of Europe, Asia, and the United States this week. Looks like white males, or just males in general, are not susceptible to heat waves. It's all just women, children, pregnant women, people with problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I want to know what this surveillance looks like. What does it mean to surveil hot people?
Well, let's keep reading. Quote, "We are very concerned about those who are most vulnerable, and clearly the heat waves can exacerbate all of those pre-existing diseases. Maria Neria, director of the Public Health, Environment, and Social Detriments of Health Department at the WHO, told journalists on Wednesday. While the El Nino weather phenomenon has been seen as the reason for the heat wave this year, global warming has been further exacerbating the issue, causing erratic weather patterns globally. While some are facing heat waves, heavy rains have plummeted central and southern regions of South Korea. And there's flash floods in India. And quote, in the medium and long term, we need to decarbonize our society as well, Naria said.
Okay.
End of article.
Yeah.
So the only thing it says is that they need a strong surveillance system. Yeah. There's your details.
All those sweaty people, we must surveil them. The reporter didn't ask any questions. There was no explanation. Are we talking cameras? We putting cameras in people's homes. We doing digital surveillance. Look, if you're on planet Earth right now and you're feeling hot, watch out. They're watching you.
Well, I bet a lot of people in the northern hemisphere have an application on their phones that were used to surveil during, a recent thingy with the disease and the virus and the whole thing.
You're talking Fruit Ninja?
Fruit Ninja, of course. And so it would be appropriate to reapply some of those applications or, use them because they're just sitting there now.
Yeah.
The pandemic is over, allegedly. So, hey, let's use that app for something else. It's getting hot, folks. It's getting hot, and people need to report their temperatures.
This is
stick a thermometer to their phone.
The direct result of the powers that were given to different governments or taken by different governments to surveil people for public health reasons.
Anything.
Yeah. Now, if it's hot in your area, if it's summertime, they can use those surveillance powers. Which, we all saw coming. Every single one of us saw it coming once they said, oh, we're going to need to be able to keep an eye on you. Who knows? What if you get sick? What if you get too sweaty? What if you get hot? Well, don't worry, citizen. We got you covered.
And the surveillance state encroached in a way that was, we have the passages in the Bible about a wolf in sheep's clothing, and how exact is that analogy or that application of that passage to all the stuff we have now, the technology that spies on us, specifically when it comes to health. And that's where this is crazy, where it's hot. Hey, beep, beep, beep. The World Health Organization has been alerted. Your body temperature has risen 0.2 degrees, which means you are in unregulated body temperature range, and you must go home now and take an ice bath.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not even. It doesn't even have to be as justified as your body temperature. It's just no, it's hot in your area. We have now flipped the switch, and we are listening through everybody's phones and looking through all their cameras. Just in case we see somebody get too hot and keel over, that way we can come and save them.
The full picture, when you pull back, they have the giant, invisible dish, directed energy weapon directed at a location, and they bake it. They make it really hot first, and then the rest of the stuff.
Exactly. You pair this with geoengineering, which they are just outright saying they do now. So you can
pick anywhere.
Hegelian dialectic. They can heat up a region, give them justification to turn on all the spying things, and then boom, you're good. I want to give a shout out. I believe it was our Canary Cry Dutchman, Lloyd V, who did the So Hot jingle.
Oh, I believe that's really good because Lloyd V is back today. I believe he produced today's episode. Yeah. See, cycles. I'm telling you, man, cycles.
Look at that. She comes summertime, fun time, Lloyd V. Thanks for being here, Canary Cry Dutchman. All right, with that, Gons, I think we should remind everybody what day it is.
I don't even remember anymore. What happened?
It's Friday. There you go. We can keep playing with the Friday thing.
You're gonna learn today.
Cause it's Friday. You ain't got no job. And you ain't got shit.
Are you not entertained?
It's Friday.
Okay, don't turn that dial, folks, because we've got some very important things actually to start out with. I want to start with calling the producers, Gons.
Producers, assemble!
That's right. It's the producers. You know them, you love them. They're producers of this show who are committed to praying for the show, for the producers of the show, for different prayer requests that comes in, and it's a very important group of people. There is sort of a what's the word? I don't know, a organized group of producers, but really anybody listening to my voice right now can be a producer of the show by, you guessed it, taking a second to pray. And we're starting out, we have an anonymous producer who sent us a very urgent request. Their daughter has seemingly run away from home. We don't have all the details now, and we don't have much permission to talk too much about it. But we are putting the daughter of Anonymous on the prayer list, who has run away from home. Everybody's very concerned. There's more details, but we're going to give it a little bit of time before doing some of those things. So we might, hopefully, we don't have to talk about it on Monday. Yeah. But for now, the Lord knows, and everybody listening to my voice right now, say a prayer for Anonymous, their family, and especially their daughter, who is not home, seemingly has run away. And of course, in times such as these, that is a very scary thing to have happen. But yeah, I really want to get the whole family in on this one, folks, because that is about the worst possible situation. Yeah.
Sorry to hear about that.
I think that's it, Gons. I don't think there's much else to say. I don't want to get too much into it, but that is the most important thing that we could do with the time here at the top of the show. Yeah. So thank you very much for everybody who is a producer today, making that happen. Yep. And with that, Gons, how are you? Are you hot still?
Yes. Very warm, sweaty and toasty, and I got a nice tan yesterday because my wife's company, some people from her work world, invited us to do a round of golf.
So you have a golfer's tan.
I have a golfer's tan.
Right.
I have never done a golf course before, 18 holes. Went to the range a few times, last couple months.
Oh, really? Yeah, you were getting really into golf. You've never
a little
done
bit, but I mean, once,
thing.
Yeah, but once we did the move and everything, I haven't been, swinging at all.
Not a lot of time, not a lot of spare change to go to the links. I think they call them the links.
I don't know, but it's like $20 for, I can't remember how many balls, 100 balls or something. Expensive,
at the range,
man.
You're saying.
Yeah. But yeah, we played a whole round, and I can see why it's sort of like the retired people's sport. You can kind of hang out, and some of the people there were complaining a little bit, like, "Oh man, I'm getting tired." We're back 9, legs are getting tired. I'm like, we're getting hauled around on a golf course, or not golf course, a golf cart.
Right.
And there's drinks and food, and this is luxury. I don't understand why people are complaining.
It takes like all day though to do.
But golf courses are like
holes?
The one thing I noticed when I started going through all the holes and everything, you lose touch of time, day, like everything. You lose, and I can understand why people do it now. It's like a very peaceful escape. You get to play a game. There's people,
it's escapism.
It's escapism. Yeah. Anyway, I shot -5. Is that good?
Did you have a handicap?
I don't know. It was a 72.
Well, we'd need to know if you had a handicap or not, but -5 is good. That's very good.
Is that good? Okay. Cool.
It's suspiciously good, which makes me wonder, were you keeping score or was somebody else keeping score?
Somebody else was keeping score.
Okay, they probably gave you a handicap, but even with a handicap, -5 is really good.
Okay, good. Should I retire from podcasting and go into golfing? Is it that good, or is it like just beginner's luck?
I think now that you've had that score, by the way, I'm not a golfer. I think that is good. Somebody in the chat could set me straight. From what I
don't know
about golf,
about golf,
which is primarily from mini golf, is how I know anything about golf proper. But I think that's pretty good. Okay. I would say you've probably drawn a lot of ire and like a lot of frustration from those who did not golf as good as you and who have been doing it for years. And next time you go, there will be lots of sabotage. They will start to put some Vaseline on your handles. They will be playing air horns right before you swing. I think that's the best you're going to do for a long time. All right.
Okay. Well, maybe I should just retire now, and then I'll
probably
just go out sailing into the sunset.
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
So there you go. That was my day.
I'm back home. That's nice. Back here with the animals. Got the puppies back. Everybody's good. Everybody survived the heat. And more than anything, I want to thank some executive producers.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Executive producers.
Folks, you know this. We don't take any money from corporations, commies, or cartels. No, we are entirely funded by producers of the show. And the producers of the show, that's you. It's people who get value out of the show, putting value back in. It's a paradigm shift. We all know this, that the advertising model, the corporately run model, not only is it falling apart, but it also is responsible for the complete breakdown of truth in our society, because it's not about what's true or not. It's not about what is good or not. It is about what serves corporations, commies, or cartels. But not here. It's value for value. If you get value, you can put value back in. And it's not just money. You can do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And executive producers are people who come in with $100 or more per episode. And that's why they are the most beautiful people
not on a streak
in the world.
That was not intended.
Before we thank the executive producers proper, we did have a suggestion that came in for Sir Dustin, well, soon to be Sir Dustin H.
Oh,
Dustin
right,
H.
right. Okay. Yes.
One of our longest streaking executive producers. Actually, Runk Smash sent a suggestion here. He says, Runk Smash says, I have a suggestion for Dustin H's night name, and that's Sir Dustin, Knight of the Dapper Suit and Last Minute Saves. This honors his 4-second streak save and his executive producer streak. So, yeah, back when Dustin H saved his executive producer streak, I think I'm not sure what the Dapper Suit part is, but last minute saves. Sir Dustin, Knight of the Last Minute Saves is kind of cool. So, throwing that out there. Dustin, if you are listening, let us know what you think about that one. And on to executive producers for today's episode. Ready?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. We're starting with executive producer Joshua D.
Joshua D. Thank you.
Yeah, Joshua D. Thank you, executive producer Joshua D. Coming in with 133.41.
Ooh,
yeah.
Kind of hiding the 33 in there. Yeah, pretty good.
All will be revealed. Yes, it says, this is going to mess up me getting my knighthood in a year on my 42nd birthday, but I have to have the t-shirt. See, he specifically is executive producing because of our special this month, where if you executive produce, it's one of the only ways to get the best Canary Cry probably the best t-shirt that's ever existed. But yes, it was decided that we must give more ways for people to get this shirt besides just the T-shirt Council, and the T-shirt Council has graciously let us do this. So if you are become an executive producer at all this month, you can get the shirt. Now, that seemed like a much bigger opportunity at the beginning of the month. We're 2/3 of the way through the month, folks. You're losing out. You gotta come in, executive produce. You can get the shirt. Only maybe 4 more episodes until the month is over?
3, I think.
3?
Maybe.
No. The 3 or 4, yeah. Anyways, Joshua D's note goes on. Love the show. Thanks for all you do. If you could play Canary Cry Awaits at the end of the show, that would be great. Okay, put that on the list for the Canary Cry mixtape. At the end of the show, we'll be playing Canary Cry Awaits. It is that dope. It's like a, what does he say? It's half hip hop,
like country hip hop,
banjo.
Yeah,
country by Brother G, I believe. Great song, one of the best recent songs. And yes, we will play that for you, Joshua D.
I think it was by James M. Yeah.
Oh, it was James M? Okay.
That's the one, right?
That's the one.
Yeah, that's James M.
Okay, sorry about that. James M, thank you very much for your very talented work.
But it's going in the queue. There you go. Thank you to Joshua D.
Where'd you find this?
That's right. Okay. We have one more executive producer for today's show, and that is executive producer Christine S.
Christine S. Thank you, Christine S.
Yeah. And Christine S. came with a nice round number and no note, just making sure we're alive. Thank you very much, Christine S.
Thank you, Christine S.
Yeah, it was also getting the opportunity to get the shirt if she would like it.
Where'd you find this?
Okay, I think that's it for executive producers. Remember, folks, you can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Make some art, volunteer for a job, or just send us your hard-earned value. No matter how you want to do it, you can go to canarycry.support to learn more.
Oh, that's a good link.
Canarycry.support.
You know what? Well, yeah. Okay. What do you want? You want to keep going? Is it time? Was there anything else?
Real quick, let's mention the meetups.
Okay.
Canary Cry meetup.
Because we do have a new meetup on the list, and it is for September 9th. I believe it is a Reno, Nevada meetup.
Okay.
Adding some details here. It's at the Roller Kingdom, and I'm not 100% sure how much. I know there was a change of date and things of that nature.
Are there explanations of Roller Kingdom? It sounds like a skating rink. Is the Church of Skating getting back going?
I think this might be a Church of Skating meeting, just in general.
Okay.
Yeah,
this must be producer Courtney S.
Courtney S.
over there.
That is correct.
Yeah, I know they're over there in Reno. Okay, cool. That's great. September 9th. I think that's right after Burning Man, maybe. You're going to get some funky people in a roller skating rink after Burning Man.
People trying to reintegrate into normal society, going to the roller
Nevada.
rink.
That might be possibly the most interesting Canary Cry meetup that could possibly happen. Right after Burning Man in Reno, Nevada, roller skating. This is, if anybody's within striking distance of this meetup on September 9th, I would highly recommend checking this out. I might have to see what I can do. I don't know what's going on with Burning Man or whatever this year, but it's a possibility. So there you go. Think about that. Thank you very much, producer Courtney S. And go to Canary Cry Meetups to find any meetup near you, folks. These meetups are very important. Connect with real human beings who listen to the show. You already know you'll have a bunch of stuff in common. And, if things go super south, it's these people you're going to meet at these meetups who are going to be excellent members of your apocalypse team. Yeah. So I highly recommend this. Go to canarycrymeetups.com. You'll see the meetups that are listed right now. But if there's not one near you, put one on yourself. It's easy. Literally just send us an email. Just pick a place, pick a time, send us an email. We'll put it on there. And maybe, if you're lucky, even Sir Duff will make you a flyer.
Oh, by the way, I think part of Courtney S.'s request was for Dove to maybe put together a promo piece for the Reno meetup. So if Dove gets the message, I know he's kind of batching things right now. Because
Sir Dove is got the new baby thing going on right now, but he is still producing art for the show. So if he gets the message, I'm sure he would be happy to oblige.
Yep. There you go. We'll see you at the meetup.
This is fun. See you at the meetup.
Beautiful. Okay, let's do the Flippy update.
Let's.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Right, folks, time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world. Now there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update is coming from Dexerto.com. Dexerto.com. The headline is TikToker gets sudden jump scare after giving Twitch viewers control of a robot arm. Wow, there's so many things in here. You've got multiple social media networks represented
TikTok
in this one story.
Twitch, yeah.
Okay, so he's a TikToker, but he's on Twitch. Makes sense. Up-and-coming engineer turned content creator Jake Creates decided to see what would happen if they gave viewers, oh, interesting, they got a they pronoun going on for Jake here on Dexerto.com. Decided to see what would happen if they gave viewers on Twitch control of a robot arm wielding a knife. This is what I was saying would happen, Gons. You make robotic arms too accessible. You're going to have kids giving knives to these robotic arms and letting Twitch viewers control it. This is the most dangerous possible thing you could do. This is like the Tide Pod eating of this top point in time, I think. Yeah, remember that time where all those kids were eating Tide Pods? Yeah, that was crazy. Oh, remember that time when all those kids were giving knives to robotic arms and letting strangers on the internet control it? Yeah, that was also a very bad time, a very dark time for the youth of our nation. From the original Twitch Plays Pokemon days to the modern era of AI-generated shows stemming from ideas in Twitch chat, even to live improv shows with streamers feeding off commands from viewers, there's been plenty of creativity in the space. Read the most useless paragraph ever. Diving headfirst into the streaming world, budding TikToker Jake Creates leveraged their engineering background in a novel way earlier this week, giving Twitch viewers full control of a robot arm equipped with a pointy blade. A pointy blade, Gons. You know, these Gen Zers, they're so creative. You give them something like a knife and they find a new, artistic, creative way to refer to a knife. They can't just call it a knife. They got to change the pronouns of the knife. It's pointy blade to you, Gonzo.
Call that a knife?
Call that a knife? It's a pointy blade, you bigot. Aptly titled The Twitch Arm, Jake spent just over 2 hours coding functions for the robot arm in their bedroom. While this robot arm could be controlled for all manner of beneficial reasons, what are you insinuating, Dextero.com? They instead opted to attach a knife at the end.
We get it. We get the knife.
Yeah, the target in focus.
What's the climax here? What's the payoff?
Let me tell you. The target in focus was a helpless balloon. Okay, so the knife is going to stab a balloon.
All right.
Viewers watching along, I'm going to skip this. Twitch has this thing where if you give donations or you're of a certain level, you can like put commands into the chat, much like our chat here, but then it will automatically control stuff on the other side, which is kind of cool. We've thought about this. I mean, who knows? Maybe I need to do this. Let's get a flippy arm, put a knife on it.
Well, to that effect, you know how I am always looking at, I'm looking out. Well, you can either say I'm looking out for you or I'm looking out at you, keeping an eye on you kind of deal. Okay.
Right.
There's a video here that shows the whole situation, the little clip of the robot arm with the knife, and it pops the balloon, and it shows the chat on the right side. And the person giving the commands in the chat is named Bezelia. Bezelia.
Spell that again?
Bezelia. Bezelia.
Oh, so close.
So I was
certainly
thinking,
certainly not me. What would I have any interest in controlling a robotic arm with a knife on the end? That doesn't even sound like me. Guys.
Well, if it's not you, then it's maybe the she half of you or something, because it's Basileia, kind of a feminine take on Basil.
Sure.
There's
Basil, Basilette.
Yeah. Sure. So yeah, I'm on to you, buddy.
Sounds like a woman after my own heart. My goodness.
It's hilarious because some of the commands are like lunge,
slice. This is weird. I mentioned Fruit Ninja earlier. This has kind of got a Fruit Ninja feel to it.
Fruit Ninja, yeah.
Okay, so the long story short is Basileia, totally, definitely not me, but hit me up, Basileia. Used the robotic arm, stabbed a balloon. Balloon scared engineer very bad.
I like what Basileia's.
That's the whole story.
Basileia's chat here. Forward 180, back 180, left 25. Give us a shotgun. Lunge. These commands, man. Okay, the other reason why I was a little suspicious was because this Jake Creates character here. If you scroll down a little further, Deconstructing has a little embed of a playlist of his videos, his TikTok videos.
Yes.
And the first video is a plant that is becoming roboticized.
Right. We've covered stories like that before.
Sure. Why can't I open this thing? Why isn't it playing? It's all blowing up. But it is a plant that has become attached to some machinery, so it is a cyborg plant, and it is on display with gigantic googly eyes.
Yeah, this is really strange. I think this Jake Creates guy owes me some royalties for he's getting some ideas, and they're obviously working out very well for him. Probably better for him than for me. This kid could probably retire right now if he wanted to. But yeah, I've already figured out, Gons, that I am just my fate is to languish in the old school space of podcasting and let these youngsters take everything that I hold dear and make a bunch of money off of it. But yes, he does have a plant with googly eyes that has become some sort of killer robot. It's very impressive. Collab? Maybe I should collab with this fella, because apparently we already are.
You're not getting any credit, though.
Yeah. Come on, Jake. Hit me up, Jake. Jake and Basileia, both of you. What do the kids say? Slide into my DMs. Oh, I've got DMs.
Whoa there, creepy old man. Back off.
Business. Oh no, you got to be like an Instagram model and say business only, and then give your email. What is it? Business offers only. Okay.
What did they type Jake. In boo for short?
Maybe. Yeah, probably.
That could be misconstrued.
The rate this is going, yeah. Who knows?
They need AI.
But there you go, folks. Keep an eye out. Flippy Update is not always for mind-bending paradigm shifts of what the elite lizard people are doing with robotic arms in order to enslave your mind and take over your family, become the patriarch and the husband of your wife. No, indeed, sometimes it's just about me and stabbing balloons on the internet.
The balloon was your heart.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly. It was my hopes and dreams is what it was. Yep. The robotic arm that had been armed with a knife, pointy blade by a Gen Z. Yes, popped my proverbial and literal balloon as far as my future prospects on the internet goes. And with that was your Flippy Update.
You want to destroy humans?
Okay, I will destroy humans. Okay, I will destroy humans.
Artificial intelligence.
We have a story here from the New York Times. before we jump in, I do want to mention just real quick.
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot.
Did we mention the Oppenheimer film in conjunction with Elon's
With
XAI?
Barbie?
Well, the Barbie one too, but yeah, the fact that Elon talked about how AI is going to be more dangerous than nuclear whatever nukes, and then you get Oppenheimer, the film, literally like the same weekend or a consecutive weekends. Just thought it was we're looking for patterns, looking for stuff like that. But
yeah, well, Oppenheimer as a whole, the timing is incredible.
Yeah.
Because of course we've got the threats of nuclear war. They keep trying to get us to be scared of Putin dropping the bomb or tactical nukes in Ukraine. And with these films, they start work years and years in advance. So it's just another specific and suspicious bit of timing between the government and Hollywood.
And who's not in the know? All the actors, directors, they all get on camera, or maybe some of them are in the know.
They wouldn't need to be, yeah.
But the actors, they all go, well, it's just so crazy that we make this movie and then we go to war in Ukraine. It's just nuts.
Right.
Okay, but this is from the New York Times. The headline here: Google tests AI tool that is able to write news articles. Is your brain blowing up, Basil? Or are we back in New York
Times
2020 or something? Did we go back in time?
Even further than that? New York this is another great example of New York Times being about 6 years late on something we covered.
Yeah, years ago. So this article reads as such. Maybe we won't do the whole thing. Google is testing a product that uses artificial intelligence technology to produce news stories, pitching it to news organizations, including the New York Times. Yeah, you'd know. The Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal's owner, News Corp, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. Yeah, News Corp. The tool, known internally by the working title Genesis. Some people are not going to get that
right. The
right.
beginning.
Yeah. Can take in information, which is what AI generally does, details of current events, for example, and generate news content. And people said, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss the product. Again, yeah. They're like really late to the party. I don't know why they're so stoked about this.
We really don't even need to read much about this, but partially because we've started talking about this about 6 or 7 years ago. Were you able to track down that Flippy update where
Yeah, the only Flippy up, the one that I was talking about, was not as old as I was thinking. It was from 2020, September of 2020.
Okay.
But it was an op-ed in The Guardian, and we covered it as a Flippy update because the headline here: a robot wrote this entire article. Are you scared yet, human? And it was Chat GPT or GPT-3, OpenAI. Yeah. So even back then, 3 years ago, they were sort of sprinkling or kind of dipping their toe in the media waters there. Of course, now it's all blown up. But yes, the story here, they have a product, great, Google, wonderful, whatever. I don't think a lot of people are too stoked about what they're doing with it.
I think that's the story here, is that Google is, look, you can use AI right now to write a news article. You don't need a product from Google. And Google, notoriously fearful of losing their entire business model to AI. It's just kind of funny. They came late to the game, said, we have AI that can write news stories. Buy our product, please. And I bet you it's not even about the product, because what do these news organizations really need? They don't need to pay for an AI to write articles. They can do that for free right now. What they want is to be in the good graces of Google. Yeah. And, if Google has an AI product that will write news, then I'm sure it's part of the sales pitch that our Google news writing AI will write the news perfectly so that you will show up at the top of Google search results. What they're really doing is extorting newsrooms for search placement.
Yeah. That's one way. Well, according to these people here, Quote, quite simply, these tools are not intended to and cannot replace the essential role journalists have in reporting, creating, and fact-checking their articles. Instead, they could provide options for headlines and other writing styles.
Oh, cool.
Are you kidding me? Come on. Okay, so there's all this stuff. Now, there's a little part here before we get to the punchline. Jeff Jarvis, a journalism professor,
not a real name,
and media commentator. We are media commentators.
I'd say that.
Can we put that in our CV, media commentators?
Yeah, that CV that we totally have and totally need and totally do have. CV, you mean our Twitter bio? Yes, we can put that in our Twitter bio.
Jeff Jarvis, a journalist, professor, and media commentator, said Google's new tool as described. Get this, okay? This is a journalism professor and media commentator, Jeff Jarvis.
Mm-hmm. Not a real name.
As he said, there's potential upsides and potential downsides.
Whoa. Whoa, that's that hard-hitting intelligentsia we love to see on the internet.
News organizations around the world are grappling with whether to use AI tools in their newsrooms. Many, including The Times, NPR, and Insider, have notified employees that they intend to explore potential uses of AI to see how it might be responsibly applied to the high-stakes realm of news, where seconds count and accuracy is paramount.
High stakes.
Yeah, high stakes. Now, this is the part that I think is most interesting. It comes at the end of the article. The technology has been introduced as governments around the world have called on Google to give news outlets a larger slice of its advertising revenue. So these governments are like, hey, Google, come on, man. Share a little bit more of your advertising revenue. You guys are taking too much of the cut. After the Australian government tried to force Google to negotiate with publishers over payments in 2021, the company forged more partnerships with news organizations in various countries under its News Showcase program. So Google themselves are making having direct relationships with governments from all over the world. What does that
mean? And news organizations.
And news organizations. Publishers and other content creators have already criticized Google and other major AI companies for using decades of their articles and posting to help train these AI systems without compensating the publishers.
Maybe that's what's happening with this Jake Creates guy. Maybe he's an AI, and the AI is just pulling up all of the Flippy updates and just putting it in a Twitch channel.
Create a they that facilitates all of it in sort of the Gen Z proper context.
Jake Creates is an AI influencer based off of years of my work. I need compensation.
They're gonna bring you into the meeting and they'll say, Mr. Rosewater, technically, he is your son.
My boy, my beautiful boy.
He sprang forth from your database.
That's hilarious. That is probably one of the best possible ways that history could go right now. As if they're like, you made this. You need to take responsibility.
You need to do something, and you go on a crusade
we don't even
take
know.
Out your progeny for the sake of mankind.
You don't even know what to do with this. This is all you. We've lost control of him days ago.
Well, I think it's interesting that we know that we have made the point, and not just us, but many people have been making the point for years that we are training the AI. It was all mostly in the context of the logins. What is it called? Those
captchas.
Yeah. But that's one way, but also just anytime you publish anything on the internet and, social media and so forth. So we've been training the AI and journalists specifically. I can understand if Google's taking a product from journalists who have been writing and publishing their material for years, and all of a sudden they create an AI product that uses all that as data to formulate articles for news organizations in other countries.
Yeah, specifically to ultimately replace the people that they trained.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of been the conversation of the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting how now, they didn't care then. 10 years ago, we'd say something like that to a journalist. Maybe in the future we'll worry about that. Well, maybe you should have done something 10 years ago.
It's another example of Google just trying to sell your identity back to you.
Yeah.
In this case, it's the journalists who haven't had to deal with this very much up until now. But the true Google business model is selling your own self.
Yeah, your own info back to you. Yep.
Yeah, whether it's your actual data or advertisements based on your data or products like this based on your work. It's just Google. I mean, you talk about a beast system. Google, perhaps the most powerful aspect of the beast system as it stands right now. Of course, I mean, it's nothing but spiritually relevant that the biggest economic engine in the world right now is entirely based on selling you back to you. I mean, what else could happen besides Jesus coming back really soon?
Yeah, seriously.
Speaking of which, I got a fun AI story. The religious mystery of AI, guys.
Oh, yeah. This one I got triggered on this one, man. Oh my goodness.
It's very interesting. This is coming from Politico. That's the weirdest part about it, by the way. Just as a reminder, this is Politico. It's, bills itself as like the news outlet that politicians read. This is Politico.com, the religious mystery of AI. Ooh. And I think that headline alone has some different, can mean different things to different people. There's certainly a vein. There's a vein of sort of contemplative Christianity that has become quite popular recently, where, the mystery of things, the mystery of God, these sorts of things has become a bit of just a talking point, I guess, in the context of media and content creation. But there's also kind of a weird, I think it sits differently with people who are not familiar with that kind of more contemplative or mystical Christianity. Let me just read it, and I think it'll start. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I got some bits and bytes. It's in the form of an interview. Oh, you're going to love this. You think you want to put, what was it? Media commentator on your Twitter bio? Listen to this. Technology and religion might seem miles apart. First of all, let me just say real quick, starting sentence, technology and religion might seem miles apart. That might explain the uphill battle we've been on for 10 years, Cons.
I've only talked about the combination of technology and religion, both of us and others, for a while, maybe fourth of our lives, more than that. More
like a third of my life. At our core, if a mainstream news outlet was going to report on us and the broad swath of our work over 11 years or so now, it would be technology and religion might seem miles apart. But just as it is in education, labor, or defense, AI is already having a huge impact on religious life. Oh,
yeah. We documented how that happened, by the way. Politico.
In 2012. If nothing else, our show will live on for generations and hopefully be used as a lesson in, you should probably listen to the weirdos on the internet, especially when it comes to technology and religion. AI is already having a huge impact on religious life, and religion perhaps could have an impact on AI. Ooh. Addressing questions such as whether AI should be granted some level of personhood. Thank you, Politico. Okay. In an op-ed recently published in Christianity Today, Adam Graeber, digital theologian and host of the Device and Virtue podcast.
Oh,
Dun,
everybody
dun, dun.
everybody knows about DV. Come on. Device and Virtue podcast. I mean, I can't go to a dinner party without having a little DV reference.
Digital theologian and podcaster Gons. He's getting written up in Politico. Whose campaign did he have to donate to get a Politico ad?
Well, they're considering him probably the first one because his name is Adam.
They do.
The first digital theologian, Adam Graeber.
Yes.
He has a podcast.
Totally. He has a podcast. Ever heard of it? It's like radio on the internet. Dad. Adam Graeber, digital theologian. Put that in your Twitter bio. And host of the Device and Virtue podcast. He wrestled with the importance of generative AI and what he called the rise of Bible GPTs. Large language models meant specifically to guide users through religious texts, which he says could, quote, radically shape how believers engage with the Bible. Wow, it sounds like an episode we did last year, specifically about how AI could become the way that future Christians interact with the Bible. The idea of flipping around or reading the Bible straight through or memorizing verses or even having a book or even a digital representation of the Bible that is presented in sort of, numerical or chronological order will probably go away in, who knows? It could be a decade, could be a couple decades, could be sooner. Earlier revolutions, especially in the printing press, triggered huge changes in religious practice that shook the social order, and Graeber thinks chatbots could have a similarly profound impact on public life. Yesterday afternoon, he and I discussed all that and more, including why he thinks that some of the secular discourse around AI development has taken on its own religious tinge. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. An edited and condensed version of our conversation follows. And I'm just going to pick out some little spots, but I will give you this first one. What is digital theology, and how has the rise of generative AI changed it? Digital theology raises two questions. One is, how does Christian theology and our understanding of Christian theology inform how we evaluate emerging digital technologies? Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you figure that out, you let me know, Graeber. We've been working on that one for 11 years now.
Yeah, I will say right from the get-go that the ingredient that is missing from a lot of Christian theologians in addressing or evaluating emerging digital technologies is eschatology.
Exactly.
Just to be very broad.
Yeah. And
continue.
This could be a broader than just Christian theology. There are other theologians doing this in their own respective religions.
One world religion shill identified.
Then it goes the other way and raises the question of how digital technologies shape both our theology and the very questions that we're asking. An example here would be with regard to generative AI systems. They're developing these more human qualities. How does that shape how we define what a person is? For Christians, they define a human as being in the image of God. What qualities make up that image of God in the person? And if AI systems have these qualities that look like intelligence or sentience or consciousness, does that mean that the image of God is no longer unique? Whoa, Adam Graeber asking the big questions. Now, these are the big questions. And I think it's interesting how he does not give any answers. He just answers.
he says the most, I don't know, but I guess that's where we are. We're at the point where these people give you the most milk version of all this, just to get people into the conversation, I suppose.
Well, he answers the question with a question. Mm-hmm. And in a secular realm, in a secular, outlet context, or whatever, that's the only way that you can be a religious person talking about religion. You have to talk about questions. You have to ask questions. Because the second you start giving answers, oh, you're dogmatic, you're blah, blah, blah. It's not good. They don't like religious people with answers. They only like religious people with questions. So that's where this starts out. And I think it's interesting in the context of a conversation about AI, which, is already being positioned as AI can answer all your questions. Right. If you have an answer or you have a question, AI can answer it. That's what it's good for. Large language models answer your questions. And so you bring a theologian in, and all he does is ask questions. And who can answer those questions? AI. The next one was, no, I'm not going to read this one, but they ask about the historical comparison for technology. And as usual, it talks about the printing press. Ooh, hot take.
They mentioned the overload of meaning based on just way too much information and interpretations and all that kind of stuff. And then, which is true, it's sort of the Huxley version of a dystopia where people drown. I think it was a Neil Postman quote that talked about how there will be no reason to lie or whatever because you'll just be drowned in information, kind of thing, entertained to death. So kind of referencing that.
Sure.
One way or another.
Now, this next one is kind of a long and confusing question, but here it is, and I'll give you the simple answer that Graeber gives. The new large language models are programmed to produce essentially the average of human knowledge or communication about a topic. As you point out in your op-ed, that's not at all how religious texts are written or taught. Does this technology pose a direct challenge to organized religion? And he kind of says a bunch of stuff. Just, yes, there's a lot of work to do, and we're still asking questions and blah, blah, blah. But he does repeat the point that AI, essentially, at its core, what it does is represent the average common knowledge on a certain subject. It takes all the knowledge it can gather from the internet or wherever, condenses it into an average, and then answers questions in sort of that average context. Graeber, I'll give the last paragraph of his answer here. Large language models take all that language and make a mathematical model out of it, talking about finding the average. Instead of developing a frame of the world, they're developing a frame of language, which is a representation of the world that is separate from it. I think this is interesting because the point that I've made many times in the past, the reason why big they, put so much energy into redefining words, into demonizing certain words, into changing the meaning. We saw all throughout the pandemic, the dictionary companies changing the definition of words like vaccine and others, herd immunity, whatever, because if you can control language, you control reality.
Magic trick, one big magic trick.
Yeah, not objective reality, but language is what creates the worldview in our minds. Yeah. So if you can control somebody's language, as we've seen so much recently, you can control the way that person experiences the world. And I think that's interesting to put in his answer here that no, AI, they're not necessarily intelligent or taking intelligence or maybe even barely even using data. What they're doing is they're using language. They're taking all the language available, which is it can include extremes, extreme beliefs, extreme views on the world, things like that on either side. And AI is condensing it into an average middle, into a centrist piece of information. So everything you ask of AI, you are getting the entire world's, language about a certain topic condensed into the most centrist, moderate, quote unquote, average ideas it can present to you. And in the context of religion, what an interesting concept. He continues here. I am persuaded by the idea that any meaning that we find in the output from a large language reading, not something that a generative AI system intends for us to understand. So he makes the point that in religion, an AI will only give you the average centrist sort of position. Or, I mean, there have been critics of organized religion for centuries. And no, your atheist high schooler is not the first one to think of this, although they feel like it sometimes. But yes, religion can be used to control populations, especially religion that excludes anything that is not in the sort of mainstream idea about the religion. You start getting an AI giving out religious advice, and it is the straight down the middle, average, milquetoast, centrist position on a religious text. That is a tool for control, my friend. You don't need any of these radical religious people, separating from society, not participating in a sinful culture, not conforming their ways to fit in with their friends and whatever, and do whatever the government tells them. It's not even about the government, just society as a whole. No. You get rid of all the extremes and get all the religious people just right down the middle. That is a flock that can be controlled, my friend. But he also is making the statement that no, whatever meaning you're getting from the AI, you're putting it there yourself. So planting the idea that whatever sort of centrist view that you are given by an AI, really put there by you. That's how you feel. If that's what you got from it, that's how you feel. It's a very subtle but very devious way to sort of set up AI as no. It's not telling you what to believe. It's telling you what you already believe. I think is going to be very effective in sort of a mainstream sense, taking spirituality from AI. What do you think?
Well, it seems like the center, I'm thinking of it as a scale to balance, right? And if you want certain chaos, or maybe like the bubble, the balancer bubble, when you're like framing something on a wall, if you want chaos, if you want something skewed, you just tilt one direction, and you can create that disruption. Maybe some issues or whatever, there's a straight down the middle average that, most people can agree with. But if you want to skew that around, you can do so by taking away or adding on one end or the other. I don't know. I'm just thinking of it as a sort of language thing. Well, AI language.
Yeah, totally. And I forgot to read one part. I'm going to do that here. 2 possibilities come to mind, he says. One is that these systems are built on probabilities. They're going to amplify the loudest Christian traditions, the traditions that have the most content out there. That means that these AI systems are going to be trained more on a Reformed or Presbyterian perspective than they are on a Mennonite or a Quaker perspective, where they didn't write much about their tradition. The other thing, in a more potentially positive direction, this is what he considers the positive direction, is that because they drive people to the average, you could see a centering of perspectives rather than the polarization we now have. So again, we have AI as the answer to polarization because it will drive everyone to the middle. And, you could see a certain type of theologian nowadays who would sort of idolize unity over truth, that if you can achieve unity, that is the ultimate goal of human religion. Such would be the goal of a one world beast system religion, I suppose. And AI is here to have a centering effect of all the perspectives, bring everybody to the middle, no more polarization. AI religion will bring us world peace, baby. Thank you, Politico.
And who might be the perfect president for all that centering is RFK Jr., bridging the two sides.
Very similar sort of position there. Phenomenon. Yeah, I could totally. Yeah. So you're saying RFK, not only is he Q, not only has this been a master plan, not only is he an AI created by JFK's ghost in the White House, but also he is, well, an AI to bring the polarization.
Well, it will be revealed.
To the center.
Yeah, that it will be revealed that Q was the AI, and Q is intelligent. Q was the sort of a drain the swamp GPT for everybody.
Sure.
And Trump got on board a little bit, came up with some lines, but really it was the whole agenda being laid out on Q drops to take out the deep state.
Kira OC, the chat says, "Yay, beige world order." That would have been a good show title.
That would have been a good show title.
World order.
I want to wrap up this article here. The last question is, why do you think that otherwise secular members of the AI community have developed quasi-religious ways of thinking about AI sentience, or its soul, or the apocalypse?
Yes.
And he answers here, with this technology, our reach exceeds our grasp, and we've created things that we don't understand. Because we don't understand them, we don't have the language for describing them or talking about them. When we don't have a language for what is essentially a mystery to us, we resort to religious language. So now he's sort of, taking away the barrier between deity and technology. He's sort of removing certain barriers that exist there. In her book.
And again, it's this contemplative idea that the mystery is the thing.
Is the divine,
mystery is the divine, right?
In her book, God, Human, Animal, Machine, Megan O'Giblin draws a clear line with the word transhumanism.
And lo and behold, a Politico article about AI and religion inevitably ends in the topic of transhumanism. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, Dante's Divine Comedy, when it's translated into English, uses the word transhuman, which is then picked up by a Jesuit priest. Hey, why don't you name the Jesuit priest there, Politico? He came up with the noosphere. We've talked about him. Teilhard Deschardins. Maybe a name drop would be good there, Politico. And then Julian Huxley picks it up and brings it into humanism. And then Ray Kurzweil from there picks it up and develops the idea of transhumanism. There's a clear lineage of theological and philosophical underpinnings that have shaped how we think about this technology. Even in thinking about our own sentience and consciousness, we don't have an understanding or clear definition that all people agree on. So it moves us into the realm of mystery and into the realm of religion. And talk about Carl Teichreb's reenchantment. It's happening not just in the secular way, but this guy is suggesting, this digital theologian is suggesting that it's happening to the church, or not the church, but religion in general. And I would say to the church, and this speaks to potentially, most likely, partially, a great apostasy. A lot of people, many people falling away from the faith, but also knowledge will increase. Daniel 12:4. And I was thinking about this the other day too. As I think I was putting this episode together, and I was going through this article. Maybe it was the other one, but I was thinking about how AI, and we've brought up the topic of transparency becoming a big theme. Everything's going to be exposed, and transparency will become a big theme in how we restructure
not just a theme, the most important thing,
right? And based on how much they want to track our biology, how hot the weather is getting, our ideologies will also probably be on display. There's probably going to be some kind of brain chemical monitoring. I think China already does it, where they have allegedly identified certain ideologies or certain ways of thinking to certain brain patterns and whatnot. And then we will know, like, how many people, like you and I, Basil, we got all the listeners on our show. We have a very inaccurate metric system on how to measure how many people sort of think like us. Not necessarily everything. We don't have to agree on everything, but more or less have like a Christian worldview, kind of on the fringes. We talk about all the weird stuff and the aliens and technology and UFOs. And now that's becoming mainstream, but for the last 10, 15 years. But it'll be interesting to see as the end times unfolds. Is all that going to be very public information? Like, oh yeah, these people believe in pre-trib rapture. These people believe in the post-trib rapture, and the numbers constantly change. You can see it on a database. I think that'd be kind of a weird but interesting thing. And then the rapture can take place, and then it'll disappear off the screen.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to them? That we have terminated the data. We have no more reading. But anyway.
Well, again, it's been I don't know. I hate to make this show so often about. See, we told you. See,
I tried to tell you.
It's so hard sometimes. Sometimes when you see it in Politico, and there's a big high-minded conversation about the stuff we are trying to talk about. Well, we were talking about 11 years ago. And where's our digital theologian something or other? See, that's why we got to write the book. They don't care.
I was
going to
say, if I can get the label Professor of Digital Theology honorary, then I can tell my mother that I became a doctor, and then I can fulfill my Asian duties as
there you go.
Second generation American. Important. So it would be for my mom. It wouldn't be for me necessarily.
Maybe the most important. All right. Well, with that, Gons, it's not just us who gets to brag. It's the producers of this show who get to brag. And some of them leave us voicemails. Do we have any voicemails?
We do. Yes, we do today.
Yeehaw.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com, any of the pages. You can go to canarycrymeetups.com or the T-shirt Council website, or doesn't matter. It's as long as it's Canary Cry News Talk. There's a green tab on the right side or the bottom. Click on it. It'll open up a little tiny window that allows you to record a audio message with your microphone device, usually probably a smartphone or maybe a laptop. And you can record an audio message of up to 90 seconds, and we will receive it, and we shall play it if it is acceptable to be played. And today we have one from Rochelle.
Happy Friday to my fellow cage rattlers. If you have not seen the movie Sound of Freedom, I would encourage you to go see that movie this weekend. And if you go to their website, they have bumper stickers. I know, right? Bumper stickers. But they say it's time to stand up for the children. And I agree. This is Psalm 7. Oh Lord, my God, I come to you for protection. Rescue, save me from my persecution. Oh Lord, my God, if I have done someone wrong, betrayed, plundered, if I was weak, not strong, you let the enemies come capturing, dragging and dishonoring. But if I am innocent, Lord Most High, judge the wicked and those who lie. My God, my shield, He is an honest judge. Flaming arrows. Well, you get the point. I'm out of time. Stay strong for Jesus.
Thank you very much, Rochelle.
I like hearing the pages flip,
The darn time limit, huh?
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Okay. Well, like we've mentioned before, folks, we're on the Valley for Valley model. It's awesome. I get it. Some people are tired of hearing about it. But in a world where corporate control over media, and that's not just advertising, it's also things like Elon Musk's, payment plan for tweeters or YouTube, whatever, content creator platform partnerships, all this kind of stuff. In a world where corporations are sort of in charge of letting media survive or die, it's quite the rebellion to have the value for value model here, keeping this show alive. There is not a single corporation who cares if we live or die here, Gons. We exist only because the people will it to be so. And I think probably God has something to do with it too. So it's the value for value model. You can produce the show, because that's what you are. You're a producer. With your time, your talent, or your treasure. Lots of ways to do it. And go to canarycry.support to learn more about all of that. We got some people who came in, are producing this here episode right here, Gons. And even better, some people are joining the Canary Cry Babysitters Club. Woo!
Hey. Wait, do we have it? We had a jingle for that?
We got a jingle. We got a couple jingles, I think.
I don't know if I have them set up, but yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, take a look around while I explain it, which is, we are in between babysitters right now, but because Gons moved, we do not have Grandmama Gons to babysit anymore, and so the show is inextricably linked to the availability and the pay for babysitters. So we have the Canary Cry Babysitters Club, which is producers who join the Canary Cry supply drop in order to pay for an hour of babysitting a month. And we did the math on the previous babysitter, and we needed 42 new supply droppers to sign up and to help cover the... And Gons, I'm happy to say, we've got a few more that came in, and I think it's a pretty interesting number. Okay. Let's see here. Did you think Brenton B last episode?
Sounds familiar. But I don't know.
Yes.
I may not.
Well,
I don't remember.
I don't know what happens when you're in charge of thanking people. So we'll thank Brenton B anyways. Thank you very much, Brenton B, perhaps again for joining the supply drop. Oh, yeah, by the way.
I don't think I think supply droppers joining, so that would be
okay. Let's thank Brenton B then. Yeah, there we go. Thank you very much, Babysitter Club member Brenton B. By the way, to help out with the Babysitter Club, go to canarycrysupply.com. Not only are you helping out with an hour of babysitting for the month, which we cannot do the show without, but you also get cool stuff. And don't let me move on without giving an update to the supply drop, Gons. Thank you very much, Brenton B. Helping out.
Oh, but I have the jingle here, though.
Canary Cry Babysitters Club.
What's the deal with babies? He's doing like a Seinfeld thing. I like it. Thank you very much. Yes. So there you go. Brenton B signed up. Thank you very much. Go to canarycrysupply.com for the next, well, let me think a few more. I'll give you the number. It's very fun. Thank you to Cassidy E.
Cassidy E, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, Cassidy E, thank you very much for that hour of babysitting. Next up, we've got Babysitter Club member Justin M.
Justin M, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Justin M. And we've got producer Jabri.
Jabri, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. Now, with that, Gons, that brings us to 9 members of the Canary Cry Babysitters Club, which means we need 33 more.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it happened.
We need 33 Illuminatus members to step forward to the project.
That's right. Please answer the call there.
Don't eat the babies, please.
Now, part of the benefit of joining the Canary Cry Babysitters Club right now, the next 33 people to join the supply drop, is that you will also be receiving the Canary Cry t-shirt, Canary Cry News Talk t-shirt, the awesome one, the one that you will see on your screen in one moment, the one that was created by Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda, the one that was so good, so powerful that it could not be simply available to the elite members of the Canary Cry T-Shirt Council, but because of their wisdom, it is now available to the next 33 members to join up for the supply drop, as well as executive producers through this month. So go to canarycryt-shirt-council.com, sign up for the T-Shirt Council, go to Canary Cry Supply Drop to help us pay for babysitters. I'll see, we've got missions. There are missions here. It's not just random throwing money around the internet. You get to choose where you want your money to go. And right now, right now, we hope you wanted to go to the babysitter because that's what we need. Okay, we got a few more people who came in to support this show, and I'm going to keep thanking them.
Okay.
And there's nothing you can do about it, Cons. Next up, I'm going to thank a new Patreon supporter, and that is producer Bindelman.
Bindelman?
Yeah.
Bindelman?
Bindle, like a bindle. A bindle man. A man with a bindle. Okay. Bindelman. Comes in with a nice round number. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Producer Bindelman. And then we have Sir Alex Protocol V2 Night of the Brian Protocol comes in. Pocket full of sevens on a 194 episode streak.
I don't even know how to count to 194. Where is 100? Oh, here it is. Thank you, Sir Alex Protocol V2 Night of the Brian Protocol.
That's right. Now, Gonz, I left on this sheet here the ones from last episode because I wasn't sure if you did that. Did you thank producers last episode?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So these people have been thanked. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody from last episode as well. Okay, that's it. It's a short list today, but those Babysitter Club members really help out, so thank you. Now, that concludes the list of financial producers who came in the amount of $777 or more. $7.77, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We got some people under that amount. We're going to thank them real quick. They're all on streaks. It's very impressive. Starting with Sir Casey the Shield Knight on a 323 episode streak.
Woo! Well, by the way, I think we played the 322 streak jingle for him.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. I don't see it now, but I know we found it. So.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Next up, we got Veronica D, 285.
Veronica D, thank you.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 312.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's, 283. Sorry. No, that would put her on 284, I believe. And by the way, Dame Gale, producers, we're still praying for Dame Gale. She's still very sick. She has sepsis.
Oh.
So we are. Yes, it's
you guys are
bad.
Our sepsis brethren and sisters.
Yes, both Dame Gale and I have had sepsis recently. Not a fun thing. And last but not least, thank you, Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots, 255 episodes in a row.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we also had Dame Sarah. I believe it was Dame Sarah of the Shadows.
Okay. Thank you, Dame Sarah.
Okay. Thank you very much to all of our financial producers. It means everything that you support this show. We could not do it without you. And Gonz, you forgot to remind me about what I was supposed to say about the supply drop.
What was that?
Just a heads up, everybody. We are still working towards getting those second quarter supply drops out. Please know that we are hard at work doing that. There was a couple of hiccups in production. Part of that was I was in the hospital for a month, and so things got put a month behind. But we are still diligently working towards that. Sir Ike is a champion and it's got everybody's best interests in mind as far as the supply droppers. So sit tight. The supply drop is preparing. We are just finishing up some manufacturing issues. But the T-shirt council and the T-shirt council, you'll be getting your T-shirts quite soon. And the makeup shirts from last quarter as well. Just some housekeeping there for everybody. All right. I'm done.
Okay. All right. Well, let's thank some producers for their talent. We appreciate all those who come in with their talent to help shape the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to start off with audio production. Where are you, audio production? Why are you silent? Here we go. Audio production. There you are.
Audio production.
My face is glowing like the sun. For those of you watching, my face is being completely washed out because the piece of foam that was blocking the window, because the sun is directly in my face, has fallen. And now my face glows like the sun. I am a glimpse of glory here for those of you watching. Glory Gonz. Thanking the producers.
Okay, right. Let's go. Just play us some audio.
Here's Jonathan.
Jonathan S.
Jonathan Jonathan F. says, hello, just a little clip of Speaker McCarthy talking about Brando weaponizing the government.
You noticed recently President Trump went up in the polls and was actually surpassing President Biden for re-election. So what do they do now? Weaponize government. Go after their number one opponent. It's time and time again. I think the American public is tired of this. They want to see equal justice, and the idea that they utilize this to go after those who politically disagree with them.
Boom. There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jonathan F.
Yep. Next up, okay, so Sir Marty K, Night of the Wrong Timeline, came in with it was kind of confusing, to be honest with you, Marty K. I maybe there's something I missed, but there's a note. I think I did this backwards.
Yeah, what note are you doing?
I'm going to start with the one down here because he sent a piece of art and a piece of audio. So
okay, the recent ones.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to start with the second half first because it's audio and we're in audio production. And he has a note here. I was at work and my body was on autopilot and my brain just remembered when Gonzo sang that nursery rhyme on 601 about some of the countries in the world, I guess. I think he's talking about the Animaniacs song, but I'm not sure.
Yes, yeah.
And I got a funny idea to help you get a babysitter. I know, LOL, but even though I'm not a father myself, I am an uncle. Oh yeah, by the way, no child was hit, hurt, or harassed by the making of this sound clip. And I think that is the sound clip I'm about to play here. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, 2, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, something Chile, Brazil. I can go on. I'll stop.
That was pretty good. Yeah. I was just going to let you go
as far as you needed. There's a bunch of verses, I don't want to get through that. I know the end. The end is fun because it goes Crete, Mauritania, then Transylvania, Monaco, Liechtenstein, Malta, and Palestine, Fiji, Australia, Sudan. That's how it ends. So. So
why?
Crying child.
Why is there a crying child?
Well, I guess it was, but I was not the cause of it. It just got hit by a sister unfriendly fire. Okay.
Classic.
And please help Gonzo and Basil to get a babysitter. And why was Denmark not mentioned in that nursery rhyme? I'm so triggered right now. How uninclusive can you be, Americans? Only some countries in the world. Come on, man. Rolling
That's a good point.
On the floor, laughing his tushies off. Denmark is mentioned. I may not have sung the part, but there's a little tail of one of the verses that goes France, England, Denmark, and Spain. So,
yeah, no, that you only sang about a third of the song.
I don't think I. Yeah,
there was a whole lot more that you graciously spared us from.
Sure, supposedly made Marty K's sister cry or something, but hey,
that's what you get.
Some people laugh, some people cry. I think more people cry, to be honest with you. But
yeah.
Thank you for that, Sir Marty K. I know there's another part to your message here, but we'll get to that in a second. We're going to go with Lloyd V. Is this Sir Lloyd V or is it Lloyd V? I don't remember.
It's been so long.
It's been so long. I feel like he's a knight, but I never know.
I'll check the round table.
Okay. My face is being I can't see anything now. This is great. Lloyd V had a note here. He says, "Dear Bacillus and Gonzacus, it's been a while since I've had the time to make jingles or deep fakes for the show." That's right. Lloyd V is the guy who's been making a bunch of deep fakes of us. Mm-hmm. I've been busy. My wife and I are having another Canary this December. There you go. Congratulations. Oh, wow. My daughter, Aaliyah, was already part of the Canarian, and she's already 2 years old now. Yeah, the 2-year-old.
Oh, my gosh.
I know, it goes quick. And my little boy is 2, so I mean, he's going to be 3 soon in October. Man, it goes fast, and they grow, too. It's crazy. Attached to this email are 2 jingles. The first one, "Don't Misgender Me."
Don't misgender me. It's harmful. It's hurting me. Slay, queen.
Is that Adam Curry on that first
one?
It
sounds like Adam Curry.
Play it again.
All right, here we go.
Don't misgender me. It's harmful. It's
cannot tell
me.
If it is
Slay, queen.
I think that's me. I can't tell if pitch shifted me sounds like Adam Curry, or if that was Adam Curry.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to find out from a future note from
That's
Lloyd B.
crazy.
He
Tell
has
us
another
more
one
about that.
Yeah, he's got one more here, and it's called influencer.
The number one coveted job in the world now is influencer. Influencer. I'm doing great. I'm popular. People love me.
That's Adam Curry for sure.
Okay, that is Adam.
So that probably gives it away. I think both of them are Adam Curry.
Well, that'll be nice. He'll be happy that he's on a jingle on our show.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Maybe it'll help him remember who we are.
Yes.
Probably
well,
not.
We'll have something to talk about if we ever get him on the show. I don't know what we would possibly talk about with Adam Curry, but at least now we can talk about a jingle we have.
He says,
real quick, I would say keep those ones on the top of the pile. I could see us using both of those.
Okay.
Semi-regularly. Don't lose those in the shuffle.
All right. Thanks for all you do. I'm starting to feel bromantic feelings for you because we're godly bros. Greetings from Sodom, Lloyd V. and the family. Thank you very much, Lloyd V. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Lloyd V. Congrats on another little Canarian out there. That's crazy. He's been hard at work recently.
Come on, son. You got to move a little faster, man. My eyes are going to start hurting.
One art, please.
All right, some art time now. We shall begin with Sir Dove, Knight of Rusbeltia.
One art piece from Dove.
And Dove has a note. Piece for this week's Bible artwork. I did an illustration for Proverbs 11:12. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman without good sense. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins, man. Isn't that the truth?
This is great. And he's got kind of a farmy background of a mix between chain link fencing and wood fencing. But he's got the text here, like a gold ring in a pig's snout. And he's got this, how would we describe this pig? It's a lovely pig. You can tell this pig probably has a lovely personality, but is also wearing lipstick and rouge and eyeshadow and a gold ring in her nose. Again, kind of reminds me of some people I went to high school with.
I was gonna say Madonna for some reason. Current Madonna.
The septum ring is a little bit more of a millennial Gen Z kind of thing than Madonna. Madonna would never.
You're right.
I mean, she'll put a lot of holes in her face and get a lot of work done, but not wear a septum ring. My goodness, Gons.
I guess I don't know my celebrities as well as I thought.
Thank you very much, Sir Dove, Knight of Rusbeltia. We hope you are getting as much sleep as possible. Another baby having Canarian over there.
Yeah, a lot of little baby Canarians.
Of little ones. I think that it was Lloyd V and Sir Dove. They're like on the same schedule or something. Because I think they had their first child around the same time as well, if I remember.
It's cyclical, man. I'm telling you, the immersion phenomenon is just all over this episode. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. All right, next up, so this is the image from Sir Marty K. And the note reads, if I can see my screen, which is very difficult because it is very bright, bright light in my eyes.
I know, but you got to remember, 99% of people are not going to see the video. You got to stop talking about the stuff going on the video.
I just want people to know the situation that I'm in here. We're moving the whole thing.
We got to close the blinds is what we got to do.
Yeah, blinds is what I need, yeah. It looks like your Kamala robot is broken. OG got a Windows software malfunction. Meanwhile, over and up here in the cold north, our own Danish robot is working beyond our expectations and has gotten herself an upgrade too. All hail Mutimet.
I have no idea.
That's the only family-friendly version of all the nicknames she got here in Denmark, by the way. And
who is this woman? Is this a Denmarkian politician?
Yeah, Mette Frederiksen. I believe she's PM, maybe? I don't know. I'll double check on that, but let me finish the note here. Did I lose a note? No, I did not. She's a member of the Fruity group now, and she attended to that meeting in Where was it this year? Portugal. There you go. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the note. And yeah, perhaps there are politicians, it's all just a simulation. So, the look may be different, but all the female politicians are malfunctioning together. And there you go.
Oh, I remember this woman. Okay. Yeah. It's
Prime Minister of Denmark.
Here she is. Yes.
Yeah.
She's got the blue suit on. It's just a photo of her. Looks like a semi-official photo. It says Bilderberg Babe 2023 Met Fredriksen. Oh, Sir Marty. Sir Marty's got an eye for the Bilderberg babes.
Yeah.
He can pick them.
He can. Maybe we do a Project Veritas type thing. Send Sir Marty K into one of these things and
to woo the Bilderberg babes. Yeah. Well, there's one way to secure your retirement.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you very much, Sir Marty K.
Sir Marty K.
Out of the wrong timeline.
Yep. Okay, we also have one from Sir Darren, Knight of the Hungry Pandas.
Sir Darren, Knight of the Hungry Pandas.
Is that a dog?
There it is.
That's a sound my
beautiful.
Dog makes.
It kind of sounds like a dog. Sir Darren sends a note here. Just says, thought I'd send some simple art for Friday's show. Hope you enjoy. Have a great day. And boy, oh boy, did I.
Wow.
I mean, Sir Darren is an incredibly talented professional. And even the simple art he sends is just so pleasant. What we have here is it's a little bit more on the sketch side. He's maybe made it on a drawing app on his pad or something here. But very pleasant pastel colors. And it's depiction of a canarian, an average canarian, sitting in their room, listening to music on their computer, probably listening to the podcast. In the top, there's a record player playing Flippy Don't Take My Girl, of course. On the shelving unit, we've got, looks like a Basil figurine holding some sort of stick.
That could be a narwhal extra.
Could be a narwhal horn. Could be something like that. You've got a penguin. There's a Nephilim penguin on the shelf there. Hanging on the wall is the Canary Cry News Talk movie poster that's now on a shirt. Get your shirt. Executive produced. Join the supply drop. Get your shirt. You got this adorable canarian here sitting in their office chair. They got their canary yellow headphones on. They got their Canary Cry t-shirt on. Over on the side, we've got Think Outside the Cage with sort of a sky nature-themed background. Very fun. Very cool. It was also in the newsletter today, so everybody can have a sweet, glossy JPEG of this beautiful Sir Darren art. I'm realizing I missed a couple pieces of art on the email today. But thank you very much, Sir Darren, out of the Hungry Panda. What a pleasant and delightful, simple piece of art.
Yeah, and a little detail I noticed was that, first of all, I can't believe I forgot to put Flippy Don't Take My Girl in the Flippy Origins episode. That is a major blunder on my part.
Afterwards. Yeah.
And you should have reminded me because
I should have.
That's on you. I'm going to blame you.
I have this. I'll take responsibility. I thought about it when it was too late, and that's me. I take responsibility.
Yeah. The other thing is, of course, he's on the little character here, Canarian, is on a Mac computer. What looks like a Mac, but you know the Apple logo usually has a bite out of it. It doesn't have a bite out of it. It's like the pure
back
fruit.
To the garden, baby.
Yes, the restored fruit.
I love it.
Eternal life.
Of course, this canarian is chilling. It's got big, giant, googly eyeballs. Very cute. Thank you.
All right, that's it for the art. Appreciate all of you. Fantastic.
Great art today. Thank you for everybody responding.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
We do have some microfiction jammed through, and then you're going to lead us down the rabbit hole.
Oh, this
microfiction. Microfiction.
This first one is from Wrong Smash.
Laughing, a tall man steps out and lowers his battle axe. His flowing golden locks and a glorious beard starting to show the silver of age. He embraces the winded and weary travelers, saying excitedly, "Cody, I'm glad you're back. And with the captain.
All right.
Oh, thank you very much, Runk Smash.
So is that you?
Note. That was me. See, His little note came with. He says, "I got you, Basil. The coyote hood was Cody all along, and the real fiction was the friends we made along the way."
Well done. Well done.
You're funny, Rank Smash. You're a funny guy.
All right. Thank you for that. We also have one from Stefan S.
Which one am I? There's two, looks like there's two here. Are these two?
There are two, yeah.
Top
Actually,
one. I'll do the top one. We'll do the bottom one next time.
I included the bottom one because it came in, but yes, we can save it for the next one.
Got it.
Here we go.
The IT team launched an AI-generated response for the AUNTS collaboration tool. Leveraging archived responses, the AI mimics the demanding and apathetic responses which characterize management. Does Chief ever leave his computer? Wondered Duke.
Oh, that's right. This is the workers actually prefer an AI boss because he won't be mean.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Rung Smash and Stefan S. for all of your hard work for the show.
Yep.
And with that, if you are an artist or a creative person at all, doesn't matter what age you are, we have everyone from 7 and 9-year-olds all the way up to old people making art for the show, and we appreciate it very much. You can do digital graphic design or music or jingles or microfiction, whatever you do, create something for the show. Go to canarycry.art. Canarycry.art. You can upload it there, get it onto the show. While you're at it, if you have a article you'd like us to take a look at, consider for the show, you can go to canarycry.report. See how that works? Canarycry.art, canarycry.report. All we're doing is just thinking outside the cage around here, folks. Thank you very much.
All righty. Value for value.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Let's do some debunking bunking.
Get to the bunker!
The debunker bunker.
And look at some propaganda.
State-sponsored propaganda machinery.
Propaganda.
Okay. Now, I've noticed recently the mainstream media fact-checking apparatus.
The fact-checking industrial complex.
Yeah.
Which it is so lovingly referred to, even by some in the mainstream media, it's become so aggressive.
Right. The egregiousness, is pretty out of control, and I'm noticing a lot of stories that have some patterns to them, and I want to point a couple things out in that regard today. And this article is from AP, so AP Fact Check, they're on the game. They're here to tell you the truth in a high-speed, truthy world. The headline here: the World Economic Forum didn't call for mandatory lab-grown babies.
Okay.
I mean, they told us that they have all the technology to create lab-grown babies, but they're not making it mandatory, okay?
Right. As we've cataloged on this show, we started out with we had synthetic wombs, synthetic sperm, and now synthetic eggs. No human needed. But they're not gonna force you to use all that stuff, so fact check false.
The article starts off with the claim: the World Economic Forum has proposed a ban on natural conception, advocating for all babies to be lab-grown by 2030.
Social post.
They don't even say that. They just say a claim.
Oh,
to start
a claim.
It off. Yeah, claim.
Okay.
AP's assessment: false. The organization has not made such a proposal. The website making the claim, which has a history of sharing misinformation, links to an old World Economic Forum blog post about outside research into devices that could theoretically be used to save babies born prematurely, which I thought was weird because, as we just mentioned, there was a bunch of articles that came out very recently from the World Economic Forum talking about all the stuff that they can do with artificial wombs and all the
well, that's
technology.
That's the interesting thing about this fact check. They're fact checking. Their source for a fact check is from 2017 or something. And since then, we do know that there is a push for, no human needed reproduction, all synthetic. And on top of this, there's a movie coming out, Gons, called The Pod Generation. Have you heard of this?
No.
Yes. A nice trailer for everybody to go take a look at. Maybe we'll bring something to the show. It's called The Pod Generation, which I thought I first was a little offended, thinking they were talking about podcasting, because we're the podcasting generation, us millennials. But no, this is the Pod Generation, and it's sort of a near future artsy fartsy film about the first generation to be born in pods, which is all the stuff we've been following. And recently, it's like in the last 1 year, they finally completed the circle, and they can actually pull this off, or at least in theory, they could pull it off. So I don't know. Go check it out. It looks very interesting.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's all out there, but no, the claim here is completely false here. The facts, social media users in recent days have widely shared a headline making the baseless claims about the World Economic Forum, and organization best known for hosting an annual conference of business and political leaders in Davos, Switzerland, that is a frequent target of conspiracy theories.
Of course.
Quote, WEF bans natural conception. All babies must be lab grown by 2030, reads the June headline from The People's Voice. Now,
okay,
they describe the People's Voice.
This was an actual outlet, they're saying.
Yes.
An actual news, quote unquote, outlet put out this headline that even for us sounds silly.
Yes. Now, they describe the People's Voice as an unreliable website that routinely shares false and misleading claims. And they hyperlink that sentence there to another AP article about fact-checking about the World Economic Forum's fashion, the uniform stuff that was out a couple weeks ago. The People's Voice is the source that they are fact-checking. Keep that in mind. The article itself provides no evidence for its assertion that the WEF has made such a proposal. Instead, it claims that the WEF have been developing artificial wombs, which will be able to develop a fetus outside of a mother's body, and links to a 2017 blog post on the WEF's website. The blog post, however, simply reported on a study by Philadelphia researchers into sustaining lambs born prematurely by using a device, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the World Economic Forum 2017 blog post about something else and making suggestions. The World Economic Forum didn't conduct that research, nor did it advocate for all babies to be completely developed, blah, 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 blah. It goes on. Now, I was going to just kind of say, another bad, fact check or whatever, but here's the thing. The natural inclination for these types of articles, for a majority of people now, especially are, awake and we've realized the corruption and the propaganda and all this, they see headlines like this and they automatically default to defending the claim, or at least having sympathies or sympathetic ties to whoever is being fact checked here. Because again, the WEF bans natural conception. All babies must be lab grown by 2030. Sounds like something that someone in our community might say on a Twitter post or something, as sort of a, not necessarily a fact-based statement per se, but based on all the things happening, sort of a inflammatory and a colorful way to describe what's going on and what's
connecting some dots and making a Twitter post type of thing. Right?
So I dug into the People's Voice because I was like, who are these people? If it's one thing to be Crowder or Tucker Carlson or something like that, that's one level. But Who is the people's voice? So I went down that rabbit hole.
And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Now, first off, the first piece of info I found was the People's Voice, also known as Voice, was a newspaper based in Harlem, New York City to serve the African-American community. So it was a newspaper in the 1940s. Voice mainly focused on racial issues, local events, and investigative news, but it also covered entertainment and sports. Many activists and writers contributed to Voice, including Ann Petrie, Freddie Washington, and Marvel Cook. The paper stopped publication in 1948, partly due to accusations that Voice was circulating communist propaganda. Interesting. Now, this is not the People's Voice that AP is citing. The one AP is citing, which I think is interesting that they would call it the People's Voice, based on this history here, is an organization that used to be called News Punch. Or you might be more familiar with Your News Wire. Do you remember that, Basil? Your News Wire?
Yes, of course.
This is the group.
Very popular, widely shared amongst the
truthers.
Sort of, yeah. I wouldn't even say necessarily the truther community. Definitely in the truther community. I would say maybe a little bit of the less discerning bits of the
the more sensational corners. You could say. Yeah, but in that there's a large overlap with sort of a new age crowd, similar truth seekers, but maybe a little misled on the conclusions there. But those people would also, share this type of thing around. But okay, so this group, News Punch, Your News Wire, now known as A People's Voice or The People's Voice, was founded in 2014 by Sean Adel Tabatabai and his husband, Sinclair Treadway. I'll mention more about that in a second here. In 2017, BuzzFeed report identified News Punch as being the second largest source of popular fake stories spread on Facebook that year. And a June 28 Poynter analysis identified News Punch as being debunked over 80 times in 2017 and 2018 by Poynter accredited fact checkers, such as Snopes, FactCheck.org, PolitiFact, and the Associated Press. So they were kind of chosen. They're like the chosen one to deliver the fake news that these organizations can debunk. The European Union. Yeah.
So just so I'm following so far,
yes,
it was an outlet, basically a communist outlet in the 40s.
Well, they were shut down because they were accused of being a communist propaganda outlet.
Okay.
They were calling out racism and stuff. Yeah.
They were putting out stuff that got them accused of, being propaganda, basically.
Right.
Maybe even agitation propaganda.
Yeah.
Because agitprop is a big, what we're talking about right now is agitprop. And for those who don't know, agitation propaganda is kind of the Hegelian dialectic version of propaganda. There's the propaganda that the government wants you to believe, and then they put out agitprop, which is the opposite of what they want you to believe, but they use it as a way to categorize people, to identify people. If you believe and spread the agitprop, they're doing it specifically to agitate you and to have you sort of identify yourself. And so what it sounds like was maybe this was an agitprop outlet in the 40s or something, and then has resurfaced or through somebody passed on the company to this guy, or maybe there's a couple different steps in there or whatever.
Maybe I have no clue, actually. I don't know about that part, but maybe because it does say here that the European Union's East Stratcom task force has criticized News Punch for spreading Russian propaganda, a charge Adel Abatabai denies. So he could have done it as sort of a troll thing. He's like, oh, you're going to call me Russian propaganda? I'll be the best Russian propaganda. Now,
really, that's what agit. That's
what we defining what agitprop is.
Yeah, agitprop is basically trolls.
Right. So, just to reference, to frame News Punch and their credentials, throughout this whole thing, Wikipedia has a list of fake news stories that News Punch is known for, now known as the People's voice. Okay, here's the list. Stories pushing the debunked Pizzagate conspiracy. Newspunch was one of the first sites to propagate the conspiracy theory, publishing a falsified story that was later used as a basis for Pizzagate's viral spread among the alt-right. So, they're, at least in this wiki thing here, they're claiming Newspunch was one of the first people to carry the Pizzagate conspiracy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting cred for spreading Pizzagate. Also, the claims that the 2017 Las Vegas shooting and Manchester Arena bombings were false flags, which is okay.
Sure.
That's like everybody on the internet. That's anyone who's, questioning things would suggest, or at least ponder that thought when stuff like that goes down. Anti-vaccination hoaxes alleging that Bill Gates refused to vaccinate his children and, quote, admitted that vaccinations are designed so that governments can depopulate the world. Pretty milquetoast, but pretty common conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Now this
Easy.
Claims that Hillary Clinton's popular vote victory in 2016 was the result of voter fraud. Who cares? Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Popular vote. Who cares? Allegations that Clinton was responsible for Anthony Bourdain's suicide, invoking the conspiracy theory that the Clintons had murdered people, which I think is a hilarious one because the conspiracy theory surrounding Anthony Bourdain's alleged suicide was that Mossad took him out because he wrote some pretty bad things about, calling them black magicians and, they're all evil and dark people or whatever. And then he was dead a few months later. So people are suggesting maybe it was the Mossad that took him out, not the Clintons, but somehow Newspunch was suggesting that it was the Clintons and then invoking the whole Clinton body count in general.
There's an interesting connection between this guy or this outlet and the form that we see the fact checks taking in the fact check industrial complex, which is like so close, but not quite there.
Yeah, there's like little details that mess it all up.
Yeah, like they're fact checking stuff that nobody really thinks in like an objective way. Nobody thinks that the world, was it the WHO or the World the WEF, like published a blog about they were going to ban natural birth.
We would know about that if they actually did publish
thinks that. Like nobody thinks that there's a blog at the World Economic Forum that says they want to ban natural birth. But if you can get an outlet that claims that, then you can fact check it and pre-bunk, if you will. You can pre-bunk and program, your average citizen to freak out whenever somebody says anything about the World Economic Forum.
Well, it's a clever way to do it because it's almost like they're presenting a really extreme version of what they want to do, so that when the real thing happens, it's like, oh, okay, but yeah, it's not as bad as like all those crazy people said would be. With all the craziness that they're suggesting with Pizzagate and all that, even though now we know that all the stuff is true. A lot of it is true. So, okay. A couple other things that were on the list here are Trudeau is the love child of Castro. How is he getting the credit for this? The Trudeau conspiracy, that's like years old. I don't know how this guy gets the credit. And then false claims.
That's also the question of, you're saying this is all on the Wikipedia?
The Wikipedia is suggesting, these are his like credits of like false fake news stories.
Right. So we know that the U.S. intelligence agency is the most active editor on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So somebody in there wants you to think that all of these theories came from this guy.
Right.
And, we've seen this before where somebody will get credit for originating a conspiracy theory, and it'll be like years after we talked about it.
Yeah.
And somebody just, and at first you're like, hey, they don't get credit for that. But then you're like, wait, something else is going on here.
Yeah.
Somebody wants this person or this thing to take the credit or have the credit or whatever for some specific reason.
Now, who is this guy? Now, I found an article from the Evening Standard. 2017 was when they kind of did a profile on him. This was published in February of 2017. The headline, Sean Adel Tabatabai on being in the eye of the fake news storm. It all starts with him to destabilize democracy. I'm not going to read this, but he's the first couple sentences are funny. Sean Adel Tabatabai doesn't look much like a Russian propagandist. He doesn't come across much like your average alt-right agitator. There's your word there, agitate. Either.
Yes, they use the word.
They use the word, yeah. With his neat Burberry polo shirt and his overwhelming nimbus of aftershave. And if you call what he does fake news, he gets a little defensive. Quote, I define my job as overseeing and editing an alternative news website. That's what I do. And then later he says, what I mean is that we cover stories that the mainstream media isn't covering. And, this they do some Soros headlines and whatnot. And this is 2017. So remember, this is like right after Trump gets elected. He's in office.
Right.
So there's like Trump rage going on. So there's a lot of that in this article. But they talk about this guy, Adel Tabatabai, 35, lives in a Hollywood Gothic apartment complex. Okay. That you can imagine Philip Marlowe staking out in a Raymond Chandler novel. There's something guileless about him. He actually seems to believe the stuff his site publishes, or at least to relish its textures and its tremors, like a teenager who's got a little lost, who's got a little lost inside a role-playing game. He lives with Sinclair. I know, wow. This is hilarious. Yeah, wow. He lives with Sinclair, his American husband. They signed the register in Camden at 1 minute past midnight on the day that David Cameron legalized gay marriage. Their apartment is filled with art, and I can't help but notice a Bernie Sanders bumper sticker too. Quote, most of my friends, and I would say me too, are liberals, he says. I'm not some member of the alt-right trying to stir up racial hatred or homophobia or anything. I'm just very open to ideas. So there you go. Here we have, because when we look at the AP, anytime there's a fact check, the assumption of people who don't do their due diligence is that, they're going after someone in the alt-right community, or they're going after a Republican or a conservative. In this case, raging liberal,
wow.
who has an outlet, a platform. I don't know who follows this platform, the People's Voice, I know News Punch made the rounds, but it's like, who's, I don't know. It's just
from what we can tell, the entire outlet seems to be agitprop. It seems to be there strictly so that it could be pushed back against in the mainstream media.
100%.
And if those ideas spread, some of those ideas are rooted in truth, some of them are rooted in other theories, but there's seems to be always something that's just like not quite genuine about the stories that he's putting out there, which is perfect, which is exactly what the AP fact checkers want.
That's what they need. They can't do a real fact check on like facts, because most people, they know they've lost. A lot of mainstream outlets know they've kind of lost the corner on the market of truth when it comes to just citizen journalism. They can't stop certain aspects of citizen journalism, so they have to kind of resort to these ridiculous tactics. But it just goes to show that the apparatus is in full view here. There is something called Operation Mockingbird. Just as a refresher here, Operation Mockingbird is an alleged large-scale program of the United States Central Intelligence Agency that began in the early years of the Cold War and attempted to manipulate domestic American news media organizations for propaganda purposes. Now, that was then. Of course, it's probably a little more sophisticated now, but all that information became public in the 60s and 70s, and now there's TV shows about all this stuff, so there's no denying that this existed. Might it exist today? Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah, wow. Well, good catch. Yeah, it's almost, we've been sort of baffled, specifically by like AP fact checks, Reuters fact checks.
What are they doing?
Yeah, they're like really sort of, what's the word? They're established, but they're kind of,
they're sliding.
I don't know. they're trying. They're
grasping. They're grasping.
Perceived. Well, the outlets themselves are perceived to be kind of elite outlets.
Right.
I mean, AP.
Of course.
That's like an elite outlet.
Yeah.
Reuters. That's an elite, respected outlet. And their fact checks are just so ludicrous. Yeah. Not in that they don't check the facts. They're just checking facts that like nobody believes in the first place. And yeah, it all makes sense when you follow the route. They're getting these ridiculous things from. I think you're right. I think that at least the lineage of that outlet.
Yeah.
Not even including the guy, although the guy really raises some suspicion. So yeah. She's probably an agit propagandist. But even that outlet, the lineage of the outlet being agitprop for decades and decades and decades and decades, getting shut down and reopened and changed the name and stuff like that. I think we've sort of pinpointed an op. If nothing else, it's an op. We got the PSYOP, baby. We found it. We found you.
Yep. There you go.
Wow.
So
the fact that yournewswire.com was named in that lineage too is that's pretty intense because a lot of people
shared Your Newswire links to us.
A lot of people. We get a lot of Your Newswire.
We may have done Your Newswire.
Well,
we tried not to. Our instincts were correct when we tried to steer away from some of those outlets.
Well, we put Your Newswire in the same category as natural news. Natural news,
and
really
make people mad now.
Yeah, it's many offshoots. I think natural news is of the same species of Your Newswire and of whatever this one's called. Yeah, very interesting. Well, good job getting down in there.
Yep. Dirty now. Okay. Dirty and sweaty.
Well, now you know, folks. You've been down the rabbit hole. You've seen what's at the bottom, and now it's time to crawl back out before we go diving back in on Monday, because we will be back rattling cages. So we hope you do the same. Have a wonderful weekend. Try to stay cool. There's a couple more groups of producers I want to thank, Gons, if you don't mind. I want to go ahead and thank the Clippies. Clippy on those videos. Thanks. That's right. Go follow Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. And thank you to the Clippies for doing all the hard work that you do. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you very much.
And thank you to Le Timestamper.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
Yeah. Thank you to Morgan E. for doing the timestamps for episode 646. That really helps us out. We appreciate that.
Morgan E. Thank you.
Thank you to Jam. Thanks to Jam for the links. Thank you to Clank for everything you do. And other than that,
Nancy and Sir Ike too for the links. Thank you.
Oh, they did. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I never know if that's old or new. Thank you to Nancy and Sir Ike for sending in some links as well. Wow, what other show takes the time to dig down so deep into an individual source that was used as a fact check on an it's just like
fact checking the fact check so that we
I don't know any other show that does that regularly, at least. I mean, I know sometimes people's Adderall kicks in and they go digging down wherever they seem to be pointing at any one moment, but thank you for that, Gonzo. All right, folks, well, share the show, share it with your friends, share it with your family. If you have somebody in your life who appreciates diligent research on news outlets, maybe send them this episode. That'd be cool. But you can share the show in regular ways, post it on your social media, word of mouth, tell your friends, or you could do it sort of a non-traditional way. There's plenty of ways to do it. For instance, you could go ahead and just fact check the show. Go get a journalism degree, get a job at AP News or some other respected news site, and tell your boss, hey, I have an unlimited wealth of fact check material for you. It's this podcast called Canary Cry News Talk, and you'll sit and look. You don't have to do all the work. You don't have to do any work, really. You just get AI to do it. Tell AI to write a fact checking article about an episode of Canary Cry News Talk every single day. That'll keep you busy for a long time. Just start like an entire empire of fact-checking. Get your money from the government. Become a piece of the fact-checking industrial complex. And just focus solely on Canary Cry News Talk, because it is the most important outlet out there that needs to be held to account. And, I don't know, people will read it and they'll see the show and they'll be like, actually, this sounds pretty good. I want to go check it out. That's just one way to do it. You don't got to do it that way. Do it any way you want. But we call it rattling cages. If you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You just walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone!
Never! Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, you got any last words?
Stay away from the eye of Sauron in the heat, in the fire.
Good.
The fires.
The fires of Mount Doom.
The hot fires of climate change.
Yeah. And while you're at it, consider sponsoring 1 hour of babysitting for Gonz's kids. We need it. It's the only way we can keep doing the show, and you can rest easy knowing that you did your part, keeping those little babies safe while we do the show. Go to canarycrysupply.com, sign up there. You'll get the extremely exclusive Canary Cry News Talk t-shirts. Or remember, you've only got about 9 or 10 more days to executive produce the show. You can get the shirt that way too. Once it's done, it's done. So don't wait. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage. Oh, yeah.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye!
Safe in my people's zoo.
Feed him more.
When the news of the day gets to feeling like a maze, it's okay, don't be afraid if you don't know what to say. Canary, cry waits. When your brain's in a haze on a headline days, come on to head my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry waits. Canary, reading every day, each and every way you turn, there's another thing to learn. Reading in between the lines, thanking Jesus for our lives, and nice to see his glory shining like the sun. Run the race until it's done. Come on, everyone. Cry waves. Oh, Canary, cry waves. When your brain's in a haze and the headline days, come on, I had my way. I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry away.
Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
They love killing.
Canary cry, that's a power.